I never imagined a simple New Year's Eve toast would end with me on my knees in the foyer, cheek pressed to cold marble, while my stepfather's signet ring left a perfect crescent of blood above my eyebrow. "That head of table seat," Victor said, voice velvet smooth and lethal, "is reserved for my actual child. You're blocking the view, Nora." 11 people in black tie and sequins. 11 champagne flutes frozen halfway to 11 mouths. My mother's diamonds flashed once as she flinched, but she didn't move. No one did. The grandfather clock ticked like a bomb. In that hush, I felt something inside me click into place, the way a magazine slides into a gun. Victor had just handed me the moment I'd waited 8 years for. Families don't detonate, they corrode. I was 15 when Mom married Victor Caldwell, old money surgeon with a smile sharp enough to perform open-heart surgery without anesthetic. To the outside world, he was charming, philanthropic, the man who paid for the new pediatric wing. At home, he weaponized perfection. A sigh when I left fingerprints on the glass banister. A soft, "We don't slouch at dinner." Nora, that somehow sounded worse than shouting. The way he introduced Sophia as my daughter, Harvard 25, and me as Elena's girl if he mentioned me at all. Mom's defense never changed. He's from a different generation. He shows love differently. Translation: swallow it, smile, survive. So, I survived. I perfected invisibility. I became the daughter who arrived early to set the table and left late to do the dishes, who wore navy so I wouldn't clash with Sophia's crimson dress in photos. Every holiday, I told myself, next year would hurt less. It never did. This New Year's Eve was supposed to be the last one I endured. I was 26, had a signed lease on an apartment in Chicago starting January 2nd, and a plane ticket in my clutch. I only came tonight because Mom begged, "Just one more memory before you leave us." I should have known Victor would make sure the memory scarred. Dinner had been a slow-motion car crash. Sophia, home from college, held court at Victor's right. I was placed at the far end, next to Great Aunt Ruth, who smells like mothballs and regret. When midnight neared, Victor stood to give his annual toast. Everyone rose. I reached for the chair I'd quietly claimed all evening, the one beside Mom, so I could at least pretend I belonged in the framed photo later. Victor's hand caught my wrist mid-motion, twisted just enough to make the bones sing, then shoved. The room tilted. My temple kissed the corner of the marble console on the way down. Fireworks of pain. Warm blood trickling into my lashes. He didn't even raise his voice. I believe I was clear. Mom whispered, "Nora, darling, there's a stool in the..." I stood up slowly. The string quartet in the corner had stopped playing. Even the violinist looked nauseated. Blood dripped off my chin onto the white Carrara like abstract art. I smiled. Everyone flinched. I walked, not to the stool, but to the study, the family portrait above the fireplace. The one taken last summer at the vineyard. Victor, Mom, Sophia laughing in golden light. I was cropped out, as always. Behind me, Victor started again. "If you're going to make a scene..." I reached up, unhooked the 6-foot canvas, and let it crash face down. The frame splintered. Gasps all around. Then I moved to the baby grand none of us were allowed to play. Inside the bench, under the spare sheet music, was the velvet pouch I'd discovered. Months ago, while hiding Christmas gifts, loose diamonds, Victor had been quietly removed from Mom's lost jewelry over the years. Insurance fraud or nest egg didn't matter. Street value north of 400 grand. I zipped the pouch into my clutch, right next to my one-way ticket. Mom finally found her voice. "Nora, what are you?" I turned, blood still sliding down my cheek like war paint. "Tell Victor," I said, loud enough for the caterers in the kitchen to hear. "The next time he lays a hand on me, the police get photos of my face, the diamonds go to a pawn shop in Jersey, and every society page in the state learns exactly how he treats Elena's girl." I stepped over the ruined painting, heels crunching on broken gilt. Victor's face had gone the color of old ash. Sophia looked like she might faint. I paused at the threshold, looked back once. "Happy New Year," I said. "Try not to choke on the caviar." The door shut behind me with the soft finality of a vault. Outside, snow had started to fall, fat silent flakes that tasted like the first day of the rest of my life. I didn't run. I walked. And I never went back.